nonpartisan organization. We don't endorse or denounce any party or candidate, but we do hold events like this to try to help people learn more about their candidates. We do things like voter registration. And I hope everyone here is registered to vote, but if you're not, we have voter registration forms in the back. Even people who are registered to vote sometimes forget when they move and change their address. So we have that, and we have brochures about the league. If you're interested, please pick one up and learn more about us, or like us on Facebook, or follow us on Twitter if you're so inclined. We're also doing a social media training seminar next month, and we have information about that in the back too. So as far as tonight's event goes, we tried to make sure public broadcasting to cover us, and they said, well, we'd love to, but that's Friday and we're covering football. So instead, we brought a video camera. We're going to put it up on our YouTube channel. So either tonight or tomorrow, after the event, we'll put this up on YouTube. So I'd please like to ask the candidates, when you're answering, to project as much as possible. We're a row farther away now because we needed seats. So please, since we don't have microphones, make sure that you try to project your voices when you answer so that it will be captured on the camera, on the video that we're doing tonight. Let's see, so as far as protocol tonight, what we're going to do is start with opening statements. First with Ellen Hunt, she's unopposed, and so we won't be asking her questions since she doesn't have an opposing candidate, but we'll have her give her opening statement. Then she'll be available to answer questions afterward. And she's going to have 3 minutes to speak since she doesn't have any question period later on. Then we're going to go from my right to the left with opening statements for the candidates of 2 minutes apiece. Then we'll take questions from everyone here, and if you want to ask anybody a question, please raise your hand and people will bring you a 3x5 card and a pen. You put it on the card, and then they'll bring it up here, and it will be screened for two things. One is duplication, because I'll bet that your question might be on someone else's mind, and we don't want to keep asking the same question, just worded differently. The other thing that it would be screened for is civility, because the league believes in civil discourse. And so those two things, once it passes the screener, it will come up here and I will ask the candidates the questions. If you have a specific candidate that you want the question asked of, please put their name on it, because otherwise you might want a candidate over on this table to be asked the question, and I might put your question to your candidate at this side because you didn't put their name on it. So that's what you do. Anytime during the forum, just put your hand up and someone will bring you a card. You don't have to wait until the end. I already have, I don't know, 30 cards here. We're going to try to wrap it up in 2 hours. So around 9 o'clock, someone will give me the high sign. Then we'll do 2-minute closing statements, and we'll start at this end and go here, and then candidates will be here to talk to you afterward in case you want to follow up or your question didn't get asked because I had 100 cards. So that's how we're going to proceed. Pretty standard stuff for a lead candidate forum. So with that, I'd like to start with Ellen Hunt.
Well, I want to say thank you to the Women's League of Voters for putting this all together, and thanks everybody for today. I'm a little nervous, so if I talk too fast or too slow, let me know. I'm going to make this short because I know everybody's got a lot of questions. And some of you may not know this, but Beverly Shores is my hometown, and I love it here. And I am so honored and so excited to be given the opportunity to be clerk treasurer. I'm also very appreciative of all the support and the well wishes that I've had so far. Everybody has been really gracious in telling me how wonderful everything has gone this year, and they're looking forward to seeing what happens next year. And we've made a lot of progress this year. We're not out of the woods, but we've made some good strides toward getting the town to meet their financial goals. And because I've been working so closely with John for the last 8 months, I really think that come January, it's going to be a really nice, smooth transition to having me step in. Sorry. I hope to work closely with the council next year to implement some changes that I have seen that are needed to make the town run a little bit more efficiently. And a more efficient administration will benefit the residents of Beverly Shores, and I think that's what everybody wants. I promise to maintain accurate and up-to-date records to ensure that the council has everything they need in order to make the best decisions. And I promise to happily serve to the best of my ability the residents of the town so that you all have everything that you need. And as clerk treasurer, I am absolutely committed to upholding the integrity and responsibility that come with this position. And that's all I've got.
Well, Ellen didn't reach for 3 minutes. We do have a timer up here, and so if you go past for questions, to answer questions, you'll get 1 minute. For opening statements, you'll get 2. And our timer has a timer here, and once you pass your time, you're going to hear a shrill beep, 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 which means please stop, it's someone else's turn. So with that, we'll start here with Jeff Benson.
Ready? All right. Thank you all for coming tonight. It's an amazing turnout. This is wonderful to see. Democracy in action, as Margaret mentioned to me earlier. Thank you to the League of Women Voters. It's great to have a Porter County League of Women Voters win this for the first time. And we all appreciate you revitalizing this, since we do live in Porter County and pay our taxes here. I've had the privilege of being on the town council since 2008. So I've served 2 terms. This is my 4th election. The first election I lost by 1 vote, and I've managed to secure the job for the last 2. So I look forward to and hope to win your vote for this next term. I've had the privilege to serve with an amazing town council and a number of clerk treasurers. Gail Song, Laura, John, and I look forward to the opportunity to work with Ellen. She's made some good changes and has some great ideas, as has John. Our town has a number of issues that we need to face financially, mostly, and accurate record keeping and reporting is going to really help that a lot. We also saw our taxes go up, and Michigan City Schools figured out their assessment. We got a huge bump on that line, and we hit our tax cap, so now we need to be incredibly creative and frugal. And reporting and accuracy is of the utmost importance now. Our streets need work. There's a number of things that need work, but I think that we can get this job done, and I think that with your support and the council and a good clerk treasurer in doing her job with her clever and creative ideas, that we can work as a good team, and I look forward to your vote. So I also look forward to your questions, because I am hoping to work with
I'm Greg Brown. Thank you all for coming tonight. 37 years ago, my wife and I had our first date at the Red Lantern, and that kind of introduced us to Beverly Shores area. We've lived in Valpo all our life. 2011, we came up to Beverly Shores with my father, and we've been here since then, as we now call home. Civility, understanding, and a willingness to serve are a few of the qualities that I hope to bring to the board. I'll work hard to find solutions and collaborate with others in the council to successfully achieve those goals. I'll try to make sure that the council is open and receptive to comments, suggestions, and be transparent. I've attended 90% of the council meetings over the last 3 years. But my time as the park board president, it's allowed me to see more up close what is happening in Beverly Shores and some of the issues that the town faces. I think we can use the past as a reference point only to move forward and work to help restore Beverly Shores to the greater community that it has the potential to be.
My name is Vladimir Gans. I was born and raised in Beverly Shores. All of my children were born and raised in Beverly Shores, and my passion for this community runs deep. I'm here today running for town council because I feel our town has hit a roadblock. Our community has serious financial problems, roads are in terrible shape, including East Beverly Drive, and there seems to be a divide between long-term residents and new residents. I feel individual special interests are taking precedent over the welfare of the community, and I believe serious change is needed to bring Beverly Shores successfully into the future. Business as usual will not fly on my watch. The model has failed exponentially. As your councilman, I will tackle our financial issues tenaciously. I will bridge the gap between the different interest groups in town so everyone comes out a winner. Town infrastructure will be a priority. Property tax allocation will be reviewed to make sure our tax dollars are going to places that benefit our community, not other communities. A complete review of town ordinances that are outdated, repetitive, or create possible liability for the town need to be reviewed and revised. I could go on, but it is clear to see that new leadership is needed. There are not new issues, but rather issues that have been ignored. It's time to vote in a team that can get things done for the good of the community. Thank you.
My name is Craig Nordstrom, and I thank you for the opportunity to speak to you tonight. We're in the political season, and the competition can be fun. It can be fierce sometimes. But the political season reaches an end. And when it reaches the end, you have a council and a clerk treasurer that must work as a team. Anybody here like hockey? How many are on a hockey team? 6. We have 5 council members and a goalie. And what do we do as a team when we play hockey? We pass the puck. We pass and we pass and we pass. We find that opportunity when we can score, and we score together. If one person grabs the puck and they're going to go forward and try to jam that into the opponent's goal, they got 6 people that are committed to stopping them. But when you've got 6 people on a team, you work together. You work together to do what's best for your team and to score that goal and bring glory to your town. You know, when I was a little boy, I played goalie. And I used to cry during halftime because I thought, you know, as long as I never let a goal in, we'll always win. Well, that was really kind of not very smart. Because if my teammates didn't score, then we would have to play all over again because nobody scored any points. But when you all work together as a team, with each person just as important as the other, you'd be amazed what you can do. So we're here to represent Beverly Shores. And I look forward to playing on the same team with the people who will be chosen by you. We're Beverly Shores. You come up with the name, the mascot.
Hi, my name is Donna Norcus. I can't believe I have to follow that. I'll try to do my best. As many of you know, I've been involved with some of the financial, I have a financial background, and I had been working with Laura Sullivan, the former clerk treasurer, and I've been working with John in town council and with Ellen. I think that I see the same issues that Vladimir sees, but I think that I have a different perspective on it, in that I think we're at a crossroads right now, and that we have a real opportunity for change going forward. I don't see it so much as a problem. I think the problems are behind us. And I reiterate what was said, you know, also by Vladimir and other people, including Craig, especially talking about teamwork and the need to bring people together that have varied backgrounds and allow them to bring what they specialize in to the table and offer that special expertise and respect it, bring it all together, and try and make a better path moving forward.
Hi everybody, I'm Brian O'Neill. It's great to see this many people coming out here tonight. It warms my heart to see this many White Sox fans. And thank you, Donna, for saying that we are a group of people with various skills. And as a civil engineer, that's what I want to bring to this town, to the town council, is my experience, 28 years as an engineer. I see the roads, I see the infrastructure, I see the West Beverly, the failing culverts and things like that. I think I can help in that regard. I can pitch in with the help in the financials. I think we're getting close. John and Ellen have done a great job with Donna's help, and I think we've made great progress. And once we get those issues behind us, we've got nowhere to go but up. And I think it's going to be a great 4 years. Any 5 of the 8 people who are running here would make a great town council, and I think that the choices are easy for all of you. But I appreciate your vote, and thank you all for coming out.
Good evening, I'm John Bowles. I also want to thank the League of Women Voters for being here tonight, helping with this. Also the folks from ABSR who worked hard to get our name tags, organize this, and get notices out. So thank you, and thank you all for coming here on a Friday night. So this is great. I think it really is a good day in Beverly Shores when this many people are running for office and this many people show up on a Friday night to hear what we have to say. So thank you for being here. In this since January, I have served as your clerk treasurer. We've worked hard to clean up our financial situation, and I think our financial reports are probably the best they've been in a very, very long time. So I'm proud of that. It's been teamwork. Like we said before, Donna Norcus has helped, Ellen, Jeff Benson helped with the fund reports. A number of people have helped with that effort. So it's been a teamwork. I want to continue. That is a foundation when we move forward with finances, is do we have correct and accurate reports to know where our town stands and where we move forward from here. So I'm proud as a part of that, and I would like to continue doing that and do it on the town council. So thank you very much.
Thank you, everyone. So now we'll move into questions, and I'll alternate candidates and remind you that you have 1 minute to respond, and the timer will time your 1 minute, and then the beep means you're done answering the question. And then some of the questions are specifically directed for candidates. Others I'm going to choose at random, and we'll go until about 9 o'clock, and then we'll do closing statements, and we'll start at that end of the table. And please remember to try to project your answer for the video, because we don't have a microphone. So I'll start with you, Mr. Nordstrom, with this question. Beach erosion is a problem that continues to get bigger. What can the town do?
Well, beach erosion is something that is beyond our control because of the forces of nature. What we can do as a town is to come together when things happen that are unexpected. I mean, it's not anybody's fault that this past year the beach was struck by the waves and caused all kinds of difficulty. What was within our control was whether or not we as a community could work together, could speak to one another, could look at each other and say, we want to be neighbors, we want to work this out. We want to do something that is not only agreeable to everybody, but also equitable to everybody, so that nobody feels like they're left out of the decisions, and nobody feels as though they don't play a part in what's happening. I'm sure that in terms of the actual doing, oh, that's not.
Okay, Mr. Brown.
Yes.
I occasionally come to town council meetings, but find them difficult to follow the issues. How do you propose to make town council meetings more transparent?
The ABSR does a good job with getting the agenda out before every meeting. And the people that come, I just think that we need to know that people have to take an interest in what's going on in our town government. Ask us questions, hold us accountable for what we do. If you take a part in it, the transparency will show up. That's good.
Ms. Norquist, where do you stand regarding the current policy for home rentals in Beverly Shores? Leave it the same or change, and if changed, what would your proposal be?
I support the ordinance as it currently stands, which I believe is rentals are allowed so long as they are for a minimum of 30 days. What I think we have a problem with is enforcing the ordinance, and I think that there has to be some attention paid to whether we can enforce the ordinance, how we can enforce the ordinance, and what personnel is involved in enforcing the ordinance. If we can't do that, there's no sense in having the ordinance.
Mr. Gann, are you in favor of stormwater management?
I mean, I think our storm, what we have here in town currently is acceptable. Now, there's been issues, we've got driveway drains put in people's driveways to prevent some storm water from running off in our roads. Certainly there's areas of town that we see that are flooded, that need to be addressed during bad times, and maybe those are areas that we need to focus on. But I don't see it as an overwhelming problem. But of course, I don't have any storm issues on my road. So I'd have to know where the issues are, and have to address them all individually.
Mr. Benson, how do you see the town council becoming involved in the preservation and or showcasing of our natural beauty, be it the woodlands or beach, and in managing established gardens and landscapes?
I'm not sure that that's a role of the town council. The ABSR has done a wonderful job with that, with the walk, and some other events that they've had, the artist garden walk. But I'm not sure that the town council should necessarily showcase it other than through media when people ask us questions.
Mr. Bowles, is that how you say your name?
Yes.
Bowles, okay. In your response to a question in Sand Tracks, you identify a multi-use trail along Highway 12 as a potential project. Can you be specific about who the regional entities are we would have to collaborate with to make this happen? How would Beverly Shores pay for its share?
That's a very good question, and yes, I did mention that. It seems each year more and more people are using Highway 12, and I have used Coyote Trail often, but it floods a lot at our end. If you know, if you're on it, it floods a lot, and you can't take a bike, whether it's mountain bike, unless you're doing mud bike, you really can't be on that trail, so people are forced to go at 12. I think a little attention to a trail along our business district is a wise move. I think it's many years in the making. As far as who we work with regionally, certainly NERC and possible grants through the Northwest Indiana Regional Planning Commission. We would also have to work very closely with the state highway department. Obviously, Highway 12 is a state highway. As far as our share, we have to be very creative in how we come up with our portion. If there's a matching requirement, that we'd have to be very creative in that. Good question.
Thank you. Mr. Gann, you stated in the Sand Track that you would like to change some zoning ordinances. Name one or two that you would delete or change.
Well, one zoning ordinance, for example, is related to housing. There's an ordinance that one has to put together an as-built topo after their house is complete. So the town has essentially set somebody up, say, build your house. If the footprint's wrong and it's in the wrong place, your as-built topo will reflect that. And what are you going to do? You're going to tear down the house? Now, those problems need to be addressed as soon as the foundation gets put in footings get put into the ground before a problem starts, because that will cause a liability issue for the town. That's a lawsuit. And so there's some areas that need to be modified, and we need to be a little bit more proactive rather than wait till the last minute to address problems.
Mr. O'Neill, how will you ensure positive discourse during town council meetings?
I think that people are people, and we all need to get along. And I don't see any reason why anybody needs to be less than civil at a town council meeting, especially people who work up here on the table together. But people come in from the town. They may be upset about something. They throw questions at us, and they want answers right then. But it's up to us to remain calm, answer the questions properly, and give the due respect that these people deserve. So I think that just being a calm and reasonable and listening person and listening to other people's ideas will go a long way.
Ms. Norcus, do you have any ideas on getting younger families to move to Beverly Shores?
No. It's difficult. Younger families usually have to have at least one of the adult members of the family working, and salaries here are not quite the same as they are in Chicago. The commute is not easy. I've done it before. Fortunately, I don't have to do it anymore. And now there's a high-speed train that gets you there a little bit faster. So maybe highlighting that Beverly Shores can be reached one time a day. Put it out.
Could I ask people to write a little bit larger or less cursive? Some of these are hard to read. Mr. Brown, what is your plan to address the infrastructure problems with the town, for example, roads, culverts, thank you, maintenance, etc.?
The town has a budget that is already set for this year, and we have to work within that budget. There are other entities, federal, there are grants available, I'm sure. We just have to research all avenues we can for the monies to repair our roads. The highway department we do get taxed from the gas tax and the highway tax. But that only goes so far. And we have to, for the next couple of years, I would imagine, until our budget rights itself, we will have to be judicious in what we repair and what we spend our money on. We just have to keep looking for alternate funding sources for these as well.
Mr. Benson, what criteria will you use to hire or retain the town attorney? For example, courtesy, demeanor, and professionalism. Please comment on the appropriate role of the town attorney in conduct of town council meetings.
Okay, so yeah, is that a job description? I think we do have a job description for the town attorney, and in defense of our current one, he is a steal for the price. So our town has a financial crisis. We don't have much money, and we have an attorney who works for us for $12,000 a year. And that's total. That's what he charges us. He has not charged us a penny more since he's been on it. The previous attorney, on a good year, was about $36,000 in fees. And so that's the bottom line. So we put up with some things for money. Until we get another volunteer attorney to work for $12,000 a year and be the town attorney, it would be hard to beat that.
Mr. O'Neill, do you believe that the imposition of stormwater fees is appropriate in Beverly Shores? If so, why, and how should such fees be imposed?
I don't really think that stormwater fees are necessary in town. That one way to get some more money in town, we need more money here, but stormwater, the stormwater fees, stormwater ordinances are meant for bigger towns with the existing infrastructure, stormwater sewers under roads and along the roads going out to rivers and all that stuff. Our stormwater isn't really conveyed around here very much. National Park takes care of it, goes into the Great Marsh, it flows down to Derby Ditch and out. I just don't think that a stormwater ordinance and fee is necessary here.
Mr. Nordstrom, do you believe the town council has been active enough in enforcing the ordinances it has enacted? Please comment specifically on the short-term rental ordinance.
That's a difficult ordinance to enforce. I mean, it needs to be enforced, but unless we are apprised of there being disturbance, or if people know that there are multiple parties of individual inhabiting a specific dwelling in any given month, we're really not in a position to be aware that that's happening. When it does happen, then we need to uphold the ordinance and to send a letter to the person who owns the structure and to let them know that we will take steps to make sure that the ordinance is observed. And if there are fines, well, then they get fined.
Mr. Bowles, it appears that the single largest portion of the town's budget goes to the police department. Given our budget issues, will the police budget be cut, and should it?
No comment. That is true. It is the largest part of our general fund budget. It is by far away the largest portion. Would I comment on whether or not we would reduce that? I would not go there. I do believe that every item in the general fund budget should be up for discussion if there's a way to save money. That's one thing we need to look at. No, I've seen the hard work that Susan Restow does as town marshal. I was violations clerk for about 3.5 years. So I worked with Marshal Landis for about a year, and I've worked with Marshal Restow since she came on as, and she works very hard. The officers work very hard. I wouldn't want to go there, actually.
Ms. Dorcas, how have your experiences of the past year working with the town helped you to understand the financial struggles of Beverly Shores?
My experiences over the past year have been varied, to say the least. We now understand for the first time, as of about a month ago, when the budget for 2016 was being prepared, we finally were able to submit a budget that started with actual numbers at the beginning of the year and through June that represented actual numbers, as in this number is equal to the money that we have. Unfortunately, when you come to that kind of understanding, you also understand the position that you're in right now, and we've got quite a deficit on a cash basis coming into this year. It's really difficult to think too much about how to move forward because we don't have a full year's worth of information on the spending. We know what, sorry.
Mr. Brown, in Sandtrax, you state that you supported ordinances that do not overly burden residents. Please give a specific example of an existing ordinance that you believe overly burdens Beverly Shores residents.
There are a few touchy subjects in town, and I heard of a couple that donated some property because they couldn't build them. It was called definitely an unbuildable property. I understand that, you know, there are homes just like it on another lot that have been built there. It would be the steep slope ordinance, but I think that people need to look and see, we're looking at revenue in the town. And anytime you can build and make things work within the guidelines, I think you have to look at all options before you say no to some things. It's not a favorable thing to do, but just, we need to get people, there's properties that are buildable out here, so that was just one of the occasions.
Mr. Gann, please elaborate on your proposal of a possible trade with the National Lake Shore for more beachfront on Lakefront Drive.
Well, most people don't realize that on the east side of town, there's a large tract of land over there. It's several acres, 4 or 5 acres, sitting right in the middle of the national park. And it's been sitting there doing nothing, of no use to the town of Beverly Shores at all. My thought is to use that property as a bargaining tool with the national park and get more frontage. Maybe we continue the Broadway Beach down to Shore Avenue, or strategize so we can gain something from that property. Right now the property's in the middle of national park and doing nothing. So that is something I would work towards and see if there's a possibility of doing something with the national park.
Mr. Nordstrom, please describe in detail specific contributions you have made to the town in the past 4 years. Please be specific.